Hey guys, how's it going? So today we're going to be going over the basics of your swing path and then getting your hands rotated into a correct impact position at the bottom of your swing. So the golf swing in a nutshell is you're drawing one full circle from the bottom of your swing here to the top of your backswing into impact and through your follow through. It's just going to be a slightly angled circle. And so just like we said before, golf is about consistency. So if you can have that same circle and angle throughout your entire swing, you're going to be able to have it as a consistent shot as you possibly can every time. So if you've ever been practicing and you have your ball go straight left off the club face or straight right, or starting straight and it'll curve to the left or curve to the right, those are some examples of how the swing path and impact position affect a bad shot. So if they're not all lined up, they're going to have your miss hits and you're not going to go where your target is. So in a correct swing, you should be able to set up and have the club go directly back and above up into your to the top of your backswing. And then as you're coming back down, it should be almost identical, getting into your downswing and into an impact position. And then your club face should be square, meaning pointing straight at your target at impact. This is why I have these two clubs here lined up to help me envision how that swing and how that club path is supposed to be going here. And so if you've seen other folks, you might have this same problem before. You might have your arm go out and it might waggle way out here. You have some people that go low and try to come back into that same position. And it may work some of the time, but if you're going way out here and you're trying to get back into impact, or you go low and get back into impact, you're gonna have to try to overcompensate and make things a lot harder on yourself. So here's a tip that I like to use to be able to remember to keep everything lined up. So the key is to keep your right arm close to your body as much as you possibly can. So I have a spare glove here. You can use a towel, you can use something, just anything else that's lightweight. Stick it underneath your armpit and have that thought process of just visualizing and keeping that thought of don't drop what's underneath your arm. So it should look like this, going up, still underneath your arm, and coming down into impact. Your arm is still as close to your body as you can, and through. And so what that'll look like down in profile is that you'll see that my arm is keeping everything in that same plane here, because that's effectively making my arm, my elbow, the pivot point of where my club goes up and down here. So you'll be able to bring it up, come swing down and through and around. And so as we're also talking about that rotation into impact, your hands are going to be key here. So now we don't want to flop your wrist up and then try to flop your wrist around, where it's going to look like you're going up and then you're trying to bring your club head down and around, because that won't be consistent. What we want to do is a gentle rotation as we're coming down into the club impact, a gentle rotation of your wrist to go and roll around and through. So something to remember and something to practice is hold your club out directly in front of you, and almost as if you're doing a baseball just rotation, rotate your hands about halfway back, what would be halfway through your backswing, and see if your club face is pointing up in the air and your left hand is now rotated up and pointing straight up in the air. If you have a glove, the top flap of your glove would be pointing straight up into the air. And so going into impact, you would rotate it so that your club face is pointing straight up and directly, so the toe is pointing straight up and the club face is pointing straight out towards your target, and both hands are pointing straight across here, and then rotating through so it's the exact opposite as your backswing. Your right hand is on top, your club face is pointing down. and that will mimic that motion that you need to feel going up and then coming back down and around. So it'll also look in profile. You go back up, and as you practice this slowly at first, you're coming back down. Your club face is pointing up and rotated into impact position, getting that square, and then slowly coming through and rotating around as you finish your full swing. So in slow motion with all of these together, you have this coming underneath your arm, going straight back and up, down into the rotating hands, square, and around. And now you can take this and actually use it with practice. So with a practice swing, you should be able to keep that nice and through, nice and firm underneath your arm. And you should be able to get a good impact every time. So I hope this has helped you guys remember how to get into a good impact position and get a good backswing and be able to get a good consistent swing through every single time. If you guys have any questions about this or any other tips that you might want, just leave a comment below, and please make sure you like and subscribe to the channel, and we'll get to you next time. Have a good night.